very, very pertinent about the book. It's a very political novel, struggling with massive sort of ideas of sort of change. Is fascism the right way forward? Is communism the right way forward? The place is in a mess, what are we going to do? There's discussion going on in the cinema at the time, which is very interesting, which Lowry kind of like taps into and is using as a novelistic device. But the whole essence of this walk, which the father and son are on, is about looking at the sort of political difference, and not only about political difference in the larger side of things across the world, but also in Liverpool as well, because the whole novel, as they're going round, is permeated by small things which give you a feel of Liverpool at that time. There's people, he refers to unemployed people, he refers to poverty, he refers to demonstrations, which I'll point out to you as we're going along. What also is interesting is that when Melville came to Liverpool, he thought this place was hell. Okay, he really thought this was the absolute bottom of the sort of, well, he didn't use the word capitalism, because obviously at that time the idea of the word capitalism wasn't being used, but he really did think that this was the absolute pit. And he built in lots of things within Redburn, where he goes to the idea of poverty, about, you know, the difference between people, and I think it's quite interesting that Lowry again is using Redburn as a sort of like a political backdrop, if you like, and throwing things in about Liverpool at that particular time, because many people sometimes think, because of Lowry's background, that he was from an upper middle class family, but he was very, very conscious of ordinary people and about poverty, and that certainly comes out in Wells. Besides this sort of idea of having a greater ideal about what do we want in the world, communism or fascism. I'll say.
Yeah, that was in until 17.
He came right in more than that. Of course, one of the other most striking images which Lowry used about somewhere water was Liverpool, a terrible city, whose main street is the ocean. It's probably the most well-known the forest maps of the city. So it's interesting. Do you think so?
Yes, I've seen that somewhere.
You're going to be charged for finding it.
I can't give you my sources. I just remember what you're talking about.
On the postcard, what you'll actually see is the most famous businesses in the world, which is Panama. And Lowry wasn't to know, right, when he wrote about the isthmus of Manchester Street, that eventually what he would do is that he would write a short story, if you could then call it, it's more like a journal. It's more like a journal of the journey which he actually made through the Panama. It's one of my favourite pieces by Lowry, because I think he was really going to a completely new place with writing with that. One of the other things, which the reason why we stopped him, is we've got this lovely stuff around him again, sort of Leningrad or Liverpool. Okay. And he was making a political message. Now, when I said about Lowry actually talking about poverty, talking about unemployment, and when he was talking about that demonstration, he was actually keying in to some real events. Liverpool was in a state of turmoil during 32 and 33 in particular, both this side of the wars and the other side, mainly because, and this is again very interesting, a communist called Leo was leading people both sides of the river against the rented by somebody, and I lived in it with my sister. But one day we thought, my sister and I, that we'd lay this bloody ghost light, and on the stairs we met Lockie the carpenter, the third engineer, and young Colin here. When I saw him, I smashed up a table with a kitchen chopper and splintering off the wood, went into Dale Street. There I met the ghost fella, a chap that looked like a Solomon Islander. Solomon Islander. Maybe Lowry had a dream and he sort of inserted it. But that's one of my favourite sort of bits of Solomon Islander walking along the Dale Street, as a ghost. Anyway, into Cheapside without going through the little arch again. And so there was an archway there, there's always been an archway there between Chapel Street and here. Okay. And there, night or day, I was sure to find Lord Nelson still falling back. So if we make our way round, Lowry, you can see quite a number of things here. One of the most fascinating things about this is a couple of things. First of all, it was erected by the people of Liverpool in commemoration of Lord Nelson in 1817. There's been a lot of mythology about it. So a lot of people who come on tours here are actually told that these are slaves. Okay. They are not slaves, even though they're in chains. They represent the prisoners which Nelson took at various battles, like the Battle of the Nile. Okay. Where did that mythology start? Well, in Redburn, perhaps, because the first reference I've ever seen with regards to turning these people into slaves was because Melville said that when he saw this, right, he was reminded of slaves back at home, because when he came here originally in late 1840s, and obviously when he came in the 1850s as well, slavery was still being practiced in America. So he was one of the first people to sort of draw that inference of that, but it's been used widely since then, but it isn't. They represent the people who were captured by Nelson. Now, this is actually referred to, because this was one of the great sculptures of the early 19th century in Liverpool. It was in Thomas Kay's Stranger to Liverpool, so Melville knew about it before he actually came here. Melville probably did make the walk. In Redburn he calls it a prosy walk. That's the name of the cards which I've actually created. And where Lowry gets some of the information from with regards to certain things here, right, is from Redburn. And Lowry also gets information about all the things about Melville and his life, because some of you may know that Melville also came here in 1856 to meet Nathaniel Hawthorne, and a big part of In Ballast is centred around